What's going on, YouTube? It is I, the not AlphonZeus of Team Gradelock, here with another Transformers deck profile for you. We are here at Top Deck Games, where the other John, not me, John, made first place in Swiss standings in top 4 in overall tournament with his Optimus Prime Combiner, not Combiner deck.
Yeah, they Combiner. We don't combine though.
Combiner.
So yeah. We play, so explaining the little guys, because Optimus Prime brings out the other little guys, but essentially we play Ironhide and Prowl. We play Ironhide and Prowl because they're easy, bold ones, they don't even have to flip off their side, and this side's really nuts in an all-orange deck because they just do a bunch of damage. 3 orange checks is either 7 or 8, and with all the bold that you get in the deck, it already does a lot of damage. Ironhide is also good for other specific card in the deck, but these cards right here are nuts because they have 10 health, bold 1 easy, and just like a lot of attack. This is the ability and the health of the Optimus Prime from the starter deck, but on like not on their, it's on their alt mode. It's nuts. But yeah, these are good. These are the heavy hitters of the deck. These are the cards that are gonna do the most damage throughout the game. Then you play Optimus Prime. He is your sponge. You always send him in to attack first because he has a huge 15 health. He is only running this deck really because of that, the 15 health and the 2 shield. His other side only really comes into play if you just want more attack. You don't really do it for the effect. The effect is if you flip a white, an orange, and a blue, you flip something in your KO area to its other side. That's only important because all of them have effects when they're in the KO area. Like, I almost forgot. Prowl, when he's in the KO area and he gets flipped, he destroys a weapon. And when Ironhide gets destroyed in the KO area, he gives everybody Pierce 2. That doesn't normally happen unless they die. These are not the specific cards that you're trying to flip. The cards that you're trying to flip, and we can play this because Optimus Prime's main ability is you can put these 3 in there. Is Autobot Hot Rod. Hot Rod. He's good because on his other side he pings something for 1. Zap's really good when you can just do enough damage to something, and it's really annoying when things live on 1, so you just flip over the other side in the KO area and ping something for death. So something like this is just something like this to have a safety net to just deal damage randomly is just good, I guess. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Mirage is the main playmaker. I love this card. This is the only side that matters. When you flip to the side, you basically what's the name of the card? You scrap an action from their hand. You scrap an action from their hand. You look at their hand and you scrap an action from it. So you gain knowledge even on first turn, because first turn you can't play any cards, but you can flip and look at their hand and scrap something that you know is oppressive against you. Like, the deck's heavy weapons, so if you're placing against a blue, you just rip the security checkpoint out of their hand. Sometimes they only have 1 action to play, so you rip the action. And some decks just rely on, not rely on, but this hurts a lot of decks if they're like heavy setup decks like orange, because this just keeps ripping cards. And you can keep doing this throughout the game, because the broken part of these cards is that you never flip your other guys. You never flip Prowl, Ironhide, or Optimus, because they're all good on that one side. So throughout the course of the game, you're just flipping the other guys back and forth to either disrupt cards out of their hand, ping damage, or literally draw cards. Like, this thing, when it gets flipped in the KO area, it draws you a card. Like, this is the freest +1 ever, because even if you're low on, if you don't have an action and an upgrade to play to the turn, because that's ideal to have an action and upgrade played on the same turn, this lets you keep doing it because it draws you a card. It digs deeper into your deck. Can't really say anything more than that. Like, drawing cards is good. But yeah, that's the 3 cards that you use and abuse your opponent with. Deal damage, rip cards out of their hand, or draw cards. This is only really used if you're running low on advantage. I really like this card, and this is for shitty situations, very bad situations. Then on to main deck. This part doesn't really have to be explained because it's all orange. We play 3 Peace and 3 Improvised Shield. We play these only because they're both double orange pips. Peace is okay. You can kill one of your bots to let you get an extra turn. It doesn't normally comp. It's usually win more if you do that, but like, play for a double orange pip. Like, seriously. These are good when you check them on offense. They're a lot better now too, because even if you draw them, you just discard them for green pips. Then you play 3 Supercharge in a deck that has bold built into it, and an orange deck you just want to be bolding as much as possible. You want to be having as much checks as possible, dig towards greens that you may need in certain matchups, and just do more damage. More checks is good, more orange.
We like Jarvis more. We like playing Vanguard.
Yep. 3 leaps. It's a blue card, but we play a specific amount of blue. I guess I could go over that at the end about what the ratios of all the cards are. But this card as an action is just really good. Like, it's basically another supercharge that's more guaranteed because it's just 3 attack. It's just a really good card. And then we play 3 press the advantage. This may be a bit too much, but I think the card's really good. It's another action that you can play that to just give your cards more attack if you're running low on on actions that give your cards more attack. So, and it's grabbable. If your hand's bad, as in like full of weapons or stuff, then you can just discard like a weapon to add this to your hand and have the ability to play action weapon every turn. And against Decepticons, it's okay. This is a Flame War killer usually most of the time, but I may make cuts. It may get cut to 2. It just depends on what else the rest of the deck is, but it didn't really do bad for me today. I just may cut it to 2 because it's an orange pip that you basically almost see every game. 2 treasure hunt. This is only really for worst case scenarios. If it's your only action to play for the turn. Like if you're missing out on a specific upgrade, like you need to search for, I guess when we go over it, a bashing shield to get rid of armor, or just search for more heavy damaging weapons if you don't see them. Like, it's a safety net. I don't really like this card, but that's the beauty of green. You don't like cards, you just get rid of them because you're all practically set at that point. But it's alright. Having a safety net in a card game is always good. So Treasure Hunt worked today for how much I ran it. 2 Reckless Charge. It's essentially leap into battle, 1 more attack, but you do 3 damage to it. It's ran at 2 because you only really want to see it late game. You want to give it to somebody in the late game and then just, attack for big at them, and then it doesn't matter at the end of the turn when it's about to do 3 damage to you because you already killed it. It happened today where I had this in a grenade launcher. It's like, my guy would have died, but like 8 attack for free, and then the other guy just dies. Speaking of grenade launcher, this card's really good. Like, +4 attack, a weapon that just scraps itself. I don't know, man. Like, attack is good. 4 extra attack. It's a really good weapon. If you make your better grenade launcher, please don't. 2 Power Sword. Power Sword is good because it's essentially a power punch that actually stays on the board. Power Sword is a blue pip that gives all your melee characters an extra 3 checks, and every one of your characters is melee. Ironhide, Prowl, Optimus Prime, Prowl, and Ironhide are all melee. They all can get use from this, and it's like you just want hands that have a playable action that's gonna either give you more damage or more checks, and a weapon that's gonna give you more checks. So that we ran like 6, definitely more than 6 actions that do that, and we run like a lot of weapons that do that, like the 2 Power Swords, the Power Punch. Some people may argue why I didn't run 1 more Power Sword instead of the Power Punch because all my guys are melee and this is just gonna fall off. But like, this is an orange pip. Too many blues is a problem sometimes. That's what's the beauty of Transformers. They kind of they pseudo balance things by making the really like heavy, hard hitting cards sometimes blue, so you can't play all of them. Power Punch is just good because it's the 3rd of Power Sword. That's an orange that just falls off. Sometimes it's the same value as a grenade launcher. You just want more cards like that, but not too many blues. 2 Static Laser of Ironhide because we play an Ironhide. It just gives 3 attack to it. Worst case scenario, it's the same logic as Reckless Charge. If it's gonna be on a character, and you're gonna attack with it, yeah, just don't be at like more than 3 damage. It's just gonna give it 3 attack. You just use it as an endgame card. And if it's on Ironhide, dude, like they have to have something for this, or else they're gonna get really hurt by it. The Static Blaster. It's just another weapon. Then for utilities, 3 Matrix. Mainly play it because it's orange blue, but we do run Optimus, who is a leader. So the Pierce can stick around, but the problem is we run a lot of like better weapons and some of them fall off, like Power Punch and Grenade Launcher, that sometimes this is just not used. And I'd rather have this in the deck, to be honest, because it's more blues to check. Pierce 1 can be relevant in some matchups, but you're no orange deck, so it barely comes up. I guess against combiners when they're already combined, but this deck doesn't do bad against combiners at all, because Autobot Mirage just rips all the Enigmas out of their hand. They never get to play it unless they, draw into it, essentially. And then the 3 combat commands, this is like one of the most dumb cards, the Sentinels, because that's the theme of the deck. It's a Sentinel deck. This only goes on Sentinels and it gives them 1 attack. And then what this does is it can flip a unit in your KO area from its bot mode to the alt mode and then back to the bot mode. So it just lets you, it makes you be able to do really dumb stuff where if you get the play to go second and you use Mirage, and you see they have 2 very important actions in their hand. You use Mirage, you rip it, and then you put combat commands on Optimus, swing with it, and then you rip the other action that's important. So it's either that or it turns into like multiple zaps with what's his name? With Hot Rod. And drawing cards with Sunstreaker is never bad either. So overall, this card just has a lot of utility, and it's practically one of the things that gets hit a lot. But it only really gets hit by ramming speed because it's a utility. There's not really that much like green searchable hit for utilities. So they usually either go after the character, or this gets multiple uses and it's just broken. Then we play a package. We play the 3 bashing shields and the 1 ramming speed. The 1 ramming speed just to off chance draw it, because the problem with ramming speed is if you draw too many of it, it's a really bad card, because too many of these sitting in your hand is just usually bad, and you don't want to increase the amount of dead draws you have in your deck. But this card is one of those cards that fixes your dead draws, because it's an orange green and it's the only armor we play. But it gets rid of an enemy armor. So force fields are not a thing against this deck. You just punch through as hard as you can. They may waste your upgrade, but then you get that 1 defense. That 1 defense can be sometimes very important against heavy orange, but you mainly just play it for scrapping armors, because reinforced bladings, force fields, they're all just really, really dumb. So I just want to hit as hard as possible. Let me hit hard. And then for the last greens that we play in the deck, I'm sorry if this was organized a bit weird, but this is the last greens. We play 1 enforcement batons. This is a bashing shield, but it hits weapons and it gives attack. It's good for giving attack. It's good that it's searchable. But the problem with most weapons that are good is that they fall off. Grenade Launcher falls off and Power Punch falls off. So this card doesn't normally get used all that often. But there's some matchups where you really do need this card, and giving the 1 attack is also good. Like hitting the Optimus Prime deck, hitting off their Ion Blaster, that also gives them a defense. Let me get rid of it, please. I need to hit as hard as possible. But yeah, you're just running 5 forms of upgrade 8. 1 you have to draw, 4 you can just add to your hand. That's why I'm saying utilities can be kind of annoying to kill, but the utilities are not normally that scary. Usually. And then you run Noble's Blaster. It's a blue-green that you can add to your hand, and it gives it can only be put on Autobots, but it gives 2 attack. Again, you just need this is practically going inside with the Ironhide, the Blaster of Ironhide, because that means that in the deck you play 9 actual weapons that can go on a character and be super oppressive, and this one is searchable. You want cards like Press the Advantage or this card to fix your hand if you have an awkward spot and you just need more upgrades or more. Not usually more upgrades is not a problem because this deck has a lot of upgrades, but actions can be. And something like this, just to give +2 attack and Pierce 2 to a Decepticon, is helpful because the Decepticons tend to be the defensive decks. And then 1 Espionage. This card might go up, but the only reason it's at 1 is because it's a white and green that's searchable, and the it with Mirage already rips a lot of cards out of your hand, because what normally ends up happening is against the combiner decks, you flip Mirage and then you rip their Enigma, and if they have another Enigma, you hit it with Espionage. So they either get all screwed because of that. Like, your opponent never really gets to combine because Mirage keeps hitting their Enigma, and this keeps hitting either their Enigma, or it's a good card because it hits basically everything except Pipless. Pipless is the annoying cards in this game, but like, you have Mirage to hit Pipless because most Pipless are not upgrades. So yeah, Espionage is good because ripping cards. Both of these cards are good for the same reason. Ripping cards out of the opponent's hand and getting knowledge of their hand is never a bad thing. Overall, I can't really complain about the deck. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't say this. It's my friend's deck. Paul Santos. Like, he basically built the deck, and like, man's really smart apparently. Like, it just basically did really well. It's all thought out. Oh, and right, I completely forgot. It's the deck runs 9 blues. The deck runs it runs 9 blues, 4 whites, because I'm sorry, but more than 5 whites is way too many. Sometimes just flip way too many of them on offensive checks. This is a blue, but it's orange, so like, whatever. Power swords and leaps. So it's a tad defensive, and having 9 blue is never really a bad thing, especially when 3 of them are orange. The only ones that are dead on offense are 6 of them, but 1 of them's a green that you can add to your hand if you do hit it. But yeah, today was really good. Round 1, I faced aerial bots. Play tested a lot against that deck. You're heavy orange against blue, so it may take a little bit of time. But they never really get to combine because, again, Espionage and Mirage, unless they top deck it for turn, they never really get to combine. Then I played against, I'm blanking. I think I faced Henry round 2. So yeah, I faced All Hail Prime round 2. This deck did well against that as well because its attack order is what basically won at the game. Optimus being a sponge is really helpful in that matchup just because it basically eats all the hits, and then you just go in on Optimus with your bold 1 guys. Then I faced against the mirror match, but it was running Enigma. Yeah, I definitely cheated. That's the thing about this deck. That the reason I don't run, I might get flamed for this, but the reason I don't run the Enigma is because I feel like even though it's a safety net that you might be able to activate, you have to play different when you do play the Enigma. You have to like play towards Optimus's flipping. You have to be like flipping for the case scenario where it may happen. I'd rather just have the utility of having the bots and the damage that may just, help me, as opposed to playing towards something that never usually happens because they do so much work on their own. But yeah, you beat that because, again, just flipping, taking the Enigmas out of the hand is the important part. Round 4, faced against aerial bots again. Same thing. I made a huge misplay, but again, it's basically the same thing. He only got to Enigma once because I just kept ripping cards from his hand. And that's how I ended up winning that game. And last round of Swiss, I tied with Insecticons. If I have to be honest, that might be one of the hardest matchups, and I probably would have lost that matchup because that's a much heavy hitting orange deck than me, and they're 4 wide, so that's just, them having Scrapnel too is just the other annoying part. So can't really do much against them, but it just matters your attack order. If they go first, you have somewhat of a better chance. And then in top 8, I faced Dinobots. It was literally Mirage and Espionage ripping out important actions from his hand, and he never got to do any big damage. And then we split in top 4. It was first after standings, but the deck did perform really well. It flipped. The ratios of blues was really important for the day. Definitely the heavy orange was important. I never usually flip multiple whites. You'd be surprised how many, like, the amount of times you flip like multiple whites when you're running 4. I was, but sometimes it happens. Like, card games are like that. But you just try to fit it as much as possible because orange. So yeah, that's the deck. Thank you guys for watching. We'll definitely have more Transformers videos in the future. Any questions for me, please leave them in the comments down below. Overall, thank you guys for watching, and deuces.